Okay, today is January 10th, and it was a firmware update for the DJI Osmo Action 4, which I was really looking forward to because it was an audio-based update. The notes of the firmware update said they had increased the stability between pairing the DJI Mic 2 with the Action 4 and fixed some other minor bugs. And while I don't have a DJI Mic 2 transmitter yet to test because DJI has yet to release their new product, I had some high hopes for some of these minor bugs they were going to fix, specifically because this was an audio firmware update. I was severely disappointed because none of the things that I hoped would have happened. But that got me thinking that I wanted to make a video about something that has been bothering me with regards to things like firmware updates. And that is the distinction between a product's limitations and product bugs. So I lurk on a whole bunch of different places on the internet with regards to products that I have and use in an effort to glean as much information as I can about said products. And one of the things that I find interesting is how a lot of user bases have this sense of, dare I say, entitlement when it comes to how they expect their product to function. And they throw around words like, fix this bug, I found this bug, I need a firmware update to fix this bug, like freely, without the understanding that sometimes certain devices just have limitations. And so the Action 4 is a perfect example of this because one of the things that I have an issue with is that the Action 4, like the Action 3 and the Action 2, accepts USB-C audio devices. And so you can plug in a USB-C mic directly into your Action camera and it will register as a USB-C mic. And on the Action 3, this worked flawlessly. I could plug in just about any USB-C device except for those that were specifically designed for a specific camera, like a USB-C mic designed for a GoPro or a USB-C mic designed for an Action 1. But a generic USB-C mic would work fine with the Action 3. The Action 4, though, is not the same. I have a variety of different USB-C mics, specifically the Sennheiser XS Lav mic and the Deity vMic D4, which are USB-C output mics that do not work as intended on the Action 4, meaning that they don't work the same way that other USB-C mics work. And I made a video on that specifically. You can watch it here. It's that the camera doesn't recognize these two particular mics upon a cold startup from extended shutdown until you unplug and reconnect the microphones, at which point the camera sometimes recognizes them, as opposed to every other USB-C microphone that is eventually recognized by the camera upon startup. And in my opinion, this is a bug, because this is something that should be fixable via DJI's end. Because, why do I say that? Because the Action 3 doesn't have this problem with these two specific microphones. So however they implemented the USB protocol on the Action 3, something is different on the Action 4, and as a result, these mics aren't reliable when you turn on your camera, which is a problem because when you want to turn on your camera and start recording, you don't want to have to fiddle around with unplugging and replugging in devices, right? So in my opinion, that constitutes a bug? There are a number of people out there, Action 4 users, that have another issue when it comes to USB microphones. And that is the camera's inability to record a USB microphone's audio immediately upon starting the camera with the quick start button. So with your action cameras, you don't have to turn them on. You can actually hit the shutter button and it will turn on and start immediately recording. The problem with the Action 4 is that when you do that and you have an external mic connected, it takes about 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 seconds before the camera recognizes that USB input. So it's started recording a video, and the first 15 seconds, it's using the internal microphones built into the camera, and then eventually it recognizes the USB-C microphone and kicks in and starts recording audio via that device at that 8, 10, or 15-second mark, whenever that is. So effectively, when you use the quick start, quick shutter function of your camera, the first however many seconds are kind of useless if you're using an external mic because it doesn't record the external mic. So it kind of defeats the purpose of using that quick shutter function. Is this a bug? Well, seeing as that's kind of the way it functions with every external audio device, the camera that is, in my opinion, this is a straight up limitation of the device. And without knowing how the camera is designed, it appears to run through a series of startup checks, including things like checking the battery, displaying the battery level, and then going through whatever other checks it has to go through before it gets to, hey, let's check the USB-C port for an audio input device. And so that could just be the way that the camera is designed. It has to go through a certain number of checks before that it has to prioritize before it prioritizes the audio component. Could DJI rework some of that so that the delay is smaller or shorter? Probably, but for people to demand that this is a bug and it shouldn't be this way feels a little entitled, because the quick start function functions perfectly fine with the internal microphones. And if you were using an external microphone, I mean, it just feels like that's a limitation of your device that you have to kind of live with. Whereas the camera not recognizing certain USB-C microphones when their previous iteration of camera does and doesn't have that issue, that feels like a justifiable request for DJI to fix. But the sense of entitlement when it comes to people having this expectation of products they purchase to, I don't know, function in certain ways that may or may not be actually possible is, I think, the problem with how electronics are today. It's hard because I'm on team end user. I am on your side when it comes to wanting to figure out solutions about problems we have with our gear. How do we come up with creative ways to work around certain limitations we might have with regards to audio in our cameras? But yeah, the sad truth is that just because one brand who manufactures a different action camera functions differently than the camera that you own doesn't mean that said camera needs to change how it functions because the other camera manufacturer does, because they have a whole different product and process. And in my opinion, it's like, man, yes, I am disappointed in the Action 4 in so much that it is inconsistent with how it functions and integrates with certain external audio devices. And that's what it really is, right? There's this inconsistency. If there is something you don't like, but it is consistent, it's a limitation of the device. It's just how the device works. And DJI could improve that in some way. And I think that they listen to all of these videos. I think that they listen to all of these issues that people have and try to take them all into consideration. But I mean, just because one person in a specific use case has an issue that they voice doesn't mean that that actually can be fixed, nor does it mean that everybody, all the user base, needs that function if it means sacrificing or changing something else that other people benefit from. So thank you for hanging with me. That is my big rant for the day. I'm sorry to do that, but it's just something that has been weighed on my mind for a good long while now. And it could just be that I need to not expose myself to toxic online environments, but because I generally try to have a positive attitude when it comes to equipment purchases and giving manufacturers the benefit of the doubt and having faith that they listen to their user bases and make those improvements that provide a better end user experience. But yeah, I will admit that I was a little disappointed today in the DJI Action 4 firmware update because I was hoping for things like recording a separate external audio WAV file alongside your MP4 file, and maybe fixing how the USB audio interface gets recognized. But I have faith that the wait will be worth it once DJI releases their full kit of their Mic 2 and we all get to connect a wireless mic to our camera without the use of a receiver. So hopefully that's coming soon, because I, like a lot of you, are highly anticipating that function and feature, and am willing to be like, DJI, take my money, because I need that thing. So if you have any thoughts about this whole limitation and bugs conversation, or frustrations that you might have with your DJI Action 4 and how it's functioning for you, let me know down in the comments below, because I'm always interested to hearing what kind of challenges you might have with your camera that I might be able to figure out some kind of workaround for you. And so, yeah, drop your comments down below. Thanks for watching this super long ranty video, and we'll talk again real soon.